Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Michael and Nancy live show. Welcome. Frostbite.
Good evening.
Sorry about that. What a mess. I didn't turn the volume off. So here we are. Can you hear us out there?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, good. You good, huh? Oh my goodness. Ellie, how you doing? Niels, Relic, good evening. War, how you doing? T-Bird may or may not be in there. He's still at work. I think he's running a little slow tonight. Hey, Amy. Good to see you. Nancy will be in here in a little bit.
How was your day, Michael?
It was rough. Good, but rough. Yeah. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. And yeah. Relic, you doing good? Mm. Lost weight.
The Lost Ways book is a really good book. It's fun to, especially for me. I've got young 20-year-olds as far as sons, and just walk out with them and say, "Hey, we're going to start a fire," and they grab, their little torch lighters, and it's like, "No, let's do this the old way." And they're like, "Well, how the heck is the old way?" It's like, "Well, let's figure that out." So we'll grab the book and we'll walk through it, and they'll figure out how to light a fire. And they'll play with it. They'll go out and they'll light fires when it's cold and it's winter stuff. And it teaches you how to do a lot of really cool things. Um, Whether they really are engaged in it or not, maybe they told me because it's um, just a polite thing to do. But they're really cool. I do enjoy the book. It's one of my favorite books regarding old timey strategies and survival.
Hey, Southeast. Good to
What's
see
up,
you.
Southeast? Amy, I'm going to talk about the 1924 train robbery.
Does it have recipes too? PhD.
Through their website.
So, so I
Of
went to the
course.
coin shop today. Hey, and was able to pick up two coins, and I thought we'd let y'all pick out which one you wanted to see tonight, or did you want to see both of them?
Well, you know my answer. I want to see them both, but that's totally up to you.
Yeah. So y'all put a one on one if you want to see one of them, or two if you want to see both of them. Both. You know I'm teasing you, Ellie. Put in one or both. Ellie only wants to see one. Southeast wants to see two. Tifa wants two. Close your eyes when I show the other one. Then Uh, do. All righty. Let's get the card out. And I apologize. I wanted to look up the population of. There is the 1904 MS-66. I'll bring it up close so you can see it. I'll just have to move things around where you can see it. It's a pretty one. And it's fairly rare. I don't know. I can't tell in the screen if you guys can see it good or not. Thank you. All righty, T-Bird. And there's the back of it. She's got a lot of luster to her. Face looks pretty nice. Should. Hey, Craig. So, all right, Ellie, close your eyes. This one here is really sharp too, and it's a 1879 MS-65. Woo! So, anyways, that's what I wanted to do tonight. And by the way, I bought those little plastic boxes that you hold them in, and I filled one of the boxes up today. Holds 20. So I'm on. You know, I'm moving towards being a big shot, but he made it so far. On the way. One of these days, I'll be a big shot. That'll be about the time Nancy takes the box away from me. Anyways, so Frostbite is in here tonight, and he's got a story he wants to share with you. And so let's give him a round of applause and welcome Frostbite in. Thank you. Frostbite, tell us your story.
Well, thanks for having me up, first off. So in chat a week or so ago, we asked, I guess it's actually been about 2 weeks. I came up, we were talking about some stuff, and it was like, why don't you come back up? And they're like, well, tell a story. And I'm like, well, what story do you want? And somebody asked me if I had ever heard the story of the Newton brothers. And I know of the Newton brothers, living in Texas. I've heard a lot about the various things. I'm only a few hours from Uvalde, which is where one of the crimes happened. So I decided to do a little bit of research, and today I'm going to kind of tell you the story about the 1924 peace dollar and how it kind of ties into one of the greatest train robberies that there ever was, especially from this gang. So I hope you guys like this. So the idea behind this was that 1924 is and again, I like the peace dollars. Unfortunately, I didn't have one to pull out. I have one in my peace dollar book, but it's not graded or anything. But the thing about the 1924 was that it represented the kind of pinnacle of social change. There were expansion westward. They had done the gold rush, 1876 or 1849. There were a lot of things happening. The westward expansion had occurred. We were there all the way from, New York all the way across to California. The country was growing, and we were coming into a time of the Roaring 20s. And this was a big time for change, but it was also big contradictions. This is kind of one of the first times in our society where we kind of really pushed away from the morals and the values that we had kind of grown to. Now, granted, you can argue this however you want, but still, that general time frame, the prohibition, there were a lot of new styles of crimes and things that were happening. Um, and so it was really a giant contradiction. America was a contradiction in the 1920s. And during this time frame, again, we had the peace dollar, Anthony de Francisi, who designed this, the peace dollar on the back, uh, doing a post World War One era where, we're talking about the greatest war that ever was, the war to end all wars. And the purpose behind the peace dollar was kind of contradictory to some of the things that were happening back home. So let's talk a little bit about the Gentlemen Bandits, the actual Newton brothers. There were four of them: Willis, Joe, Jess, and Wiley. Now, Wiley was one that we refer to as Doc. Now, a lot of people think this is the story of Doc Holliday, not the same exact person. But again, these guys, they weren't destined to be criminals. They actually started out as cotton farmers, very poor countryside area in Texas. They were literally dirt poor. If you've ever heard the analogies for things like that, dirt poor just meant that your floor was dirt. You didn't have any thatch, you didn't have any wood put down. It was just, they were dirt floors. And they came from a large family. Large families back in that time frame were not uncommon. They had 11 kids. Jim and Janetta were the parents. And because they lived on a cotton farm, these kids, their time was filled with labor, right? I mean, if you guys have ever been on a farm or a ranch, there's a lot of work to be done. And so it can be tough. And one of the reasons that they think that they kind of turned to this was there was not a whole lot for them to do. So the only thing that was really fun was to, pinch a little bit of trouble here and there. And they think that's kind of why they shifted to a criminal lifetime. Now, Willis was the oldest brother, and he was found guilty of a crime in 1909. And he didn't commit the crime. It was actually his brother Doc that had actually committed the crime, but he was the one who a local jury convicted, and they said, you were stealing it. The flimsy evidence was there, but they still said, sorry, we think we have enough on you. We're going to convict you. And they charged him. And while he was in prison, he became kind of cold, pretty callous. And it's like, look, if you guys want me to be this, then this is what I'll become. And when he got out, he began his life of crime. Now, when did that happen? New Year's Eve, 1914. He robbed his first train, and I talked about Uvalde, Texas earlier, not too far from where I am, and had his first haul. His first haul was about $4,700. Now, $4,700 doesn't sound like a lot, but remember, we're talking about 1914. $100,000 in today's money. That's a lot of money. That's a lot for your first little, go out and get them type thing. 100 grand is a lot of money. And when you talk about 100 grand, remember, we're talking about massive buying power. I always think that this estimate is always overdone because the buying power back in that day of a half cent was far more equivalent probably than our dollar is. So anyway, there was a massive amount of money. And of course, living in a time where he was stuck in an area that was small income, a farmer, this afforded him a portion of a life that he had never lived before. But one thing that was really cool about this is as the gang started to grow, there was something about the gang that actually received them a reputation. Now, normally what they would do is they went back and at night they would use a small little bit of dynamite, blow the door off the safe, and take the money. Nobody got hurt. It was a gentleman's game. It was the true theft. But on the few occasions where they actually robbed the store, or they robbed the bank, or they hijacked a train, they were always very polite to the people they were robbing. Have you ever seen those movies where the cowboy walks down and tips his hat and says, "Ma'am, I'll be relieving you of those earrings. Sir, your wallet, if you please." And a lot of people are like, well, it wasn't like that. And actually, report after report after report said that this gang, while they may have used some minor scare tactics, obviously to get everybody compliant, the one comment, and often from the ladies, is they were very gentlemanly. And so they got the name the Gentleman Bandits. And it was really cool because, again, they would use like, dynamite or nitroglycerin to blow the doors off. Nobody really ever got hurt during their things. Now, their claim to fame was that nobody ever died in any one of their heists. The only person who ever came close was Doc. And Doc in 1924 actually was not where he was supposed to be, came around the corner with a gun, and another guy that they were with, I believe it was James Young. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Mistook him for a lawman and shot him 5 times. So the only time anybody really got shot was a member of the gang, and it was an accident. It was just, he was not in the right place. So that was their claim to fame. That was the part of their legend, was that they had never killed anybody in this. Now, when we look at some of the time frames and the timetables, we started 1909 with his first Uvalde train, still in the cotton. 1914, 1917, Marble Falls, again, just a couple hours north of me. 1919 is where the brothers got involved, and this is where the rest of the 4 brothers were engaged. And this is where they started to hit states: Oklahoma, Nebraska, Texas, Iowa, Mississippi, Kansas. And they did this gigantic set of loops. And while they were doing this, it was about a 1-year campaign, and they brought home about $400,000 in cash and bonds. Now, unfortunately, the bonds were stopped prior to them being able to do anything with them. And so the bonds ended up actually being kind of null and void. They weren't worth anything. And so that $400,000 is a little bit misleading in that those bonds were never cashed out for any kind of item. So all that money held against them was relieved prior to them getting that. 1921 to 1922, the following year, they went from 30 or 40 banks to 80 plus banks and 6 train robberies. And they only hauled in about 200,000 in 21 to 22. But this is where they really started to hone their name of the Gentleman Bandit. This is where those reports came in, and I'm doing a video on this. And in the video, you'll see a picture of a high-class man sitting with his wife, and they're smiling, and they're, being interviewed about this train robbery. And the lady was like, they were very nice. Yeah, they were very polite, Excuse me, ma'am, can I have your earrings? Thank you for that brooch. I appreciate it. So again, it was that kind of lure. It was that kind of that mystique, I guess, if you will, that when you see those old movies and you see that, the old cowboy wink at the lady, and, she just kind of smiles, and he reaches down and, I'll take that, ma'am. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Wasn't your typical robbery, right? Yeah. And they were very clear. One of the articles that I read said, the gentleman told me, I'm only here for your stuff, sir. And I can respect that. I can replace my stuff. My life is something that's irreplaceable. And so they justified it to a group that really understood. They spoke their language. Being a poor dirt set of people, it was kind of funny that the bandits would have the praise of this higher class echelon of people. But in 1924 was when the big one hit. And the big one was in Rondout, Illinois. You guys have probably heard the Rondout, Illinois story. It was the biggest robbery by this group, and it happened June 12th of 1924. But the one that made this one successful had nothing to do with the gang. It had nothing to do with the fact that they had actually joined ties with a mob operation. The mob boss at the time was James Murray, and they needed to understand how to get certain places and coordination and time and what happens if certain events occur. And they needed a facet of organized robbery, of organized crime in order to pull this off. But the person who was key in this wasn't a Newton brother, but a corrupt federal employee named William J. Fahey, Fahy. Now, Fahey was one of the best, one of the shrewdest detectives in Postal Service history. He was a federal inspector, a federal officer, and his job was to know the movements and the placements and research crimes like this. And he actually paired up with this team. And on June 12th, 1924, around 9 o'clock at night, the robbery happened near Rondout, Illinois. Now, when they did this, they had a place where they were stopping the train. It was very quiet. It was very secluded. There was really no assistance. It was embedded in some trees. You really couldn't see it. There is a memorial in Rondout, Illinois, and you see kind of a town and stuff. None of that stuff was there when this happened. And so the information that was coming, to these people was very, what's the word I'm looking for? There's only a couple places it could have came from. It was very limited. It was very minimal. So when they pulled off the successful train robbery, understanding where it was at, of course, law enforcement got involved and started talking to people. Now, remember earlier that I said that there was an accident that happened on the train? Well, because he had got shot, because Doc had got shot by Jan Glosshawk, they actually had to go to this hotel, and there was a tip. Hey, there's a bunch of people came in. They were carrying a bunch of bags. One guy looked like he was hurt really bad. They went up to the room, shut everything off. They paid in cash. They didn't sign their name. They signed their name as Mr. Smith. And that kind of launched the initial investigation for this group. And that tip was what kind of led them to them. And over time, everybody would be caught. But the thing that was weird about this is that nobody really served very much time. The brothers themselves didn't actually have to serve much time because they were given kind of good behavior, if you will, and they only spent a little bit of time. So we talk about Joe. Joe only had to spend 1 year in prison. The brother Jess only had to serve 9 months. Willis, 4 years. Now, when Doc was caught, he actually had to spend 6 years, but that was because he had escaped from prison earlier and they had to tack on the 2 additional years to finish that earlier sentence. So there really wasn't a whole lot of chasing. Do you know who they went after? They went after the postal worker because they wanted to make sure they made a name of the guy who would turn against everybody, turn against the post office, turn against the people who had all those packages, turn against the Federal Reserve. So they went after William J. Fahey. William J. Fahey was a fall guy in this, and he was the one that actually went to federal prison for a long time. So really cool. When you talk about, again, 1924, Peace Dollar, in this particular case, there were 11 million of them minted. So it's not like they're rare. There's quite a few of those from Philadelphia. But again, it's just cool to be able to look at something, have something in your stack or have something in your collection and look at it and know a story about something that happened in the year of the coin. So the next time you guys look at something that's like a 1924, or maybe you look at a 1914 coin or maybe 1909, now you know a little bit more history about those events that happened during that time frame. And this is why I enjoy numismatics. This is why I enjoy the study of coins, the history of coins. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was fun putting that together, and I hope you guys liked the story.
I did. Very interesting. Woohoo! And I hope that you come back with some more stories like that. That is, yeah, love to hear them stories.
This is why I like coin collecting. Now, the coins are beautiful, but man, I love to be able to pick something up and go. And I've got something right here, little piece dollar, right? 1921,
Mm-hmm.
nice year, right? But I
Yeah.
like being able to look at this and go, in 1921, there was a really interesting story about a train robbery that happened in um, Piedmont, Kansas. You ever heard about that? No. Let me tell you about the Piedmont robbery, right? And you have a coin, you have it in your hand, and then they look at it and they go, "Where'd you learn that?" "Oh, with the study of coins, with the study of numismatics," right? And you go, "What is that? Why the coin was made?" "Oh no, this was just a coin that was there during that time frame." Oh, sorry about that, Greg. I moved my head for a minute. That was a coin that was available during that time frame. And so if you happen to know the story and you know the date, then when you look at those coins, it makes a really good conversation piece. And I have had a lot of people, and I do this with kids in the grocery stores. I'll take $50 or Franklin's or the bicentennial halves, or if I have maybe a 2 cent piece or something that has been cleaned, or I get it from somebody and it's been damaged or whatnot. I'll hand it to him. I'll say, "You know what happened in 1865? The Coin Act. And that Coin Act would ever take gold away from this being actual money. You want it? It's yours. Next time I see you, why don't you tell me a little bit about what happened in 1865 or 1835 or 1914 or 1909?" And I have one guy. He's a little works at our grocery store, and every time I go in, he's like, "Hey, do you have anything from 1951? Yeah, I got a couple pennies from 1951. You want one?" "Yeah, I was reading this story about blah 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 blah, and I want to have a 1951 penny." And I love it because it's again, it's just something that it helps spark interest, and the stories. You know, if we don't tell them, they get lost. Now they're all on the internet, yeah, but they lose that personal touch. They lose that if we don't share these stories. So this is
Yeah.
why it's important to share stories.
Yeah. Yep. Part of the history. Hmm.
Now, Michael, I used to sit with my granddad when I was a kid, and he was an old sergeant major,
Oh
and he
my.
knew a lot of different people, officers, all sorts of stuff. And he would have friends come over that we would go bowling, they would go out to eat, they would square dance, whatever they would do. And I would tag along, and I would just sit and listen to him tell stories. And I have become enamored with storytelling. I love listening to people tell stories, but I also enjoy doing it. So if you guys want to know more of this kind of stuff, let Michael know, and we'll make this either a bi-weekly or a monthly thing.
Sounds good to me.
War says no.
Know what?
Oh, I don't know. He probably wasn't talking to me. Yeah, Craig, that's exactly right. We got to share the stories. Our history for a very long time was passed out through word or through song. We sang our histories, we spoke our histories. And when you spoke them, you spoke that until they said, "No, that's not right." And then you would speak it again. And they were like, "No, that's not right." You would speak it again. And when you could tell the story right, then you were brought in front of the tribe or in front of whatever, and you were allowed to tell that story. It was part of becoming, one of the leaders. Folk songs, yeah, Neil, exactly. There's uh, a lot of great history that for thousands of years probably didn't change much. Despite the telephone game or whatever that's called. But yeah, I love stories and being able to talk about histories, and I can tell you my stories, but I think history's fun. Um, it's cool to talk about yourself, but man, it's so much more fun to learn stuff and then tell people what you learned. That's what I like to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my.
So, have you heard that story before, Michael?
No, sir. That's the very first time I've heard that one. Wow. Very
Now,
interesting.
for a very short time, they did run with another gang that you've probably heard about. You want to give chat a try to see if they can figure out who the other gang was?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you guys think? What was the other gang that they ran with?
There were two other gangs. Either one of them will be an acceptable answer.
Hmm. Space Noodles. Uh, the James gang, eh? Put your answers in the chat. Gang of four.
It's not the Gang of Four.
Oh, you missed the whole story then, War.
Give it just a few more moments. Oh, there we go. I finally seen one. Billy the Kid. Yes, Billy the Kid and his gang were a part of that. Um, they were at the same time, and they believe they were part of the two gangs that actually helped in the 1924. Um, the Apple Dumpling Gang. Oh, that's funny. I love that movie. When was the last time you seen that movie, Michael?
It's been quite a few years ago, but it was funny. The Hole in the Wall gang.
Yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Well, do you guys have any questions? You guys have anything you want to talk about, Michael? What do you want to talk about?
Oh,
I only wanted to come up and tell you guys the stories, but if you guys have questions, I'm more than happy to answer. Or if you guys want me to direct you to something, I can do that. That's cool.
I remember that one. Taught a bunch of documents to rob a bank. Ah, I am super, super tired tonight, Frostbite, and I'm just trying to stay awake here.
Well, we don't have to stay on very long.
Yeah, I'll try to hang on here.
Whatever you want to do, buddy.
Nancy's in her room. She didn't want to get up either. which is, she's a tough gal.
Neil, I'm actually doing something on that. I've already talked to Tiger about a potential follow up to that. So we will be doing more gemstone pieces.
Yeah, that was something else last night, and I came in on the last part of it. I didn't get there at the first bit.
Well, Gold Maple wants a joke, so I can definitely tell you guys a joke. So there
All
was a
right.
gentleman. He was driving down the road in his truck, and all of a sudden lights come up behind him, and he pulls off to the side of the road, and the officer walks up and says, "Pardon me, sir. Driver's license and registration, please." Man, without a question, hands it to him. He says, "Officer, can I tell me why you pulled me over?" He says, "Well, sir, you don't have any tail lights on the back of your truck." The guy's eyes got big as dinner plates. Man, he jumped out of that truck, went to the back. He's like, "Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What in the heck? Oh no, this is horrible. This is terrible." And the officer's like, sir, calm down, mellow out. It's not that big of a deal." He's like, "It might not be to you, but it means that I've lost my trailer with my kid and my wife, my 2 kids."
Oh my goodness.
I know, terrible joke.
Oh, that was a funny dad joke.
So my wife called me one time. She goes, "Hi, honey, where are you?" And I said, "In the car." "Where are you?" She goes, "Not in the car." And I realized we were on a road trip. I was like, "Do I need to come back and get you?" She goes, "Well, only if you want me to continue on with you." Picked her up and I was like, "Man, it was awful quiet in here." And she was
For
like,
a
"Yeah,
change.
yeah, yeah."
Whew, goodness.
I'm going to have to post on my community page. My wife came home with a new puppy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of
And
puppy was it? Yeah.
I'm going to show you. Look at that.
Oh my goodness. It's like one of them. What kind of terrier do they call that? Like the one that was in that movie with John Kerry, where the dog jumped up and up, way up there and bounced. Jack Terrier.
Yeah, so this is I don't remember what it is. It's a
Hey, Rocker.
um here's a closer picture of her. But she's a little but she's a Chihuahua Terrier mix, I believe. She's only going to get to like 8 pounds. Really small dog. It's a little teacup thing. And she 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 sent me a message today. She goes, "I want to talk to my oldest son." And I was like, "What do you need?" She goes, "I just need to talk to him about something." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." She went and got a dog. So I went and I said, "Hey, go call your mom." So he calls her and she's like, "Get ready. I'm going to come pick you up. We're going to go look at something." I was like, "Oh man, she's going to bring home a dog." And then she called me. She was like, "Hey, babe, I got a question for you." And I'm like, "Well, if you bought a dog, go ahead and come home."
Yeah.
So she's been talking about it for a while, but I'm glad that she did it. An Irish man walks in a bar, orders 2 shots of whiskeys, drinking both before he leaves. He does this every night. Then one bartender asks him why he only does 2 shots. He says, "Well, brother and I used to drink together every night. He lives across the country now, so I drink one for me, one for him."
Huh.
And he says, "Well, why'd you only drink 1 shot?" He says, "Well, I quit drinking." Yeah, I love that one. That's a great joke, man. There's another one about an Irishman. It's there were 2 ladies. They were from Welsh, and they went to an Irish grave. And she goes, "Hey, come look at this gravestone." It's like, "What is it?" It's like 75 years. He lived 75 years. Like, "Oh, that's a pretty long life, being 1800s." And the other lady says, "No, come here, look at this one. 87 years. 87 years. This is the oldest one I see." And the other lady, she's half drunk and she's stomping around. She's like, "Oh my gosh, come here, check this one out. 121. 121. There's no way. Yeah, check it out. His name's Miles to Go." Sorry. That's a dumb joke, too.
No wonder. Miles ago.
War's like, "Oh, that's painful." Yes, 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 I know, I know.
Hey, Joy.
How you doing, Joey?
Dmitri Medvedev joke. Go ahead. Knock it out. Let's see if he does it.
You like jokes about coins?
I like jokes about anything.
Well, do you know why the older gentleman put all of his silver in the freezer?
Heck no.
Because he preferred cold, hard cash.
Oh, yeah. Really cold. I don't know. We invented the periodic.
Periodic table. Yeah.
He had a very long beard.
Too much stuff. Well, do you need to, are you going to continue on for a little bit or do you want to take some time and just relax?
I'm about ready to say goodnight, but I see there's plenty of people in the chat. Might hang out for a few more minutes.
Well, just do whatever you need to do. Don't do it for us.
Yeah, it's one of them days. I think it all caught up with me. Running up and down the road, going to bed too late and getting up too early. Yeah.
Well, why don't you get some rest? And I appreciate you having me up. We'll coordinate this again. We can do this either every couple weeks, or we can do this maybe once a month and just do a story time with Frosty or whatever.
Yeah.
And I will come up with a story. Some of them you may have already heard. Some of them you may not. I can talk about Redfield. I can talk about famous hordes. I can talk about like the GSA horde and what happened behind that. If you guys want to know history stuff, you guys want to talk about those things, then do me a favor and let me know what you want me to do, and I'll do it.
Okay. Yeah, I think if it's not too close in between, 2 weeks sounds good. That's going to put it on you though to be able to come up with all the stories, right?
Well, stories are easy, right? There's a ton of stories to be told, and so there's a lot of things that you can do. But if somebody says, "Hey, have you ever heard about?" Now I'm just going to use the Apple Dumpling Gang because now it's stuck in my head.
Yeah.
But if they say, "Have you ever heard this story?" I have no problem doing research for a day or two, finding out some information about it, and then just reporting on it.
Yeah.
I can do that too. And I can put it in a story style structure. That's easy.
Okay.
So you guys provide the topics and just make them clean, and let's keep the risque stuff off. And just to honor Michael and Nancy. But yeah, let me know what it is, and I'll be more than happy to do something.
Yeah, great. That sounds good. Hey, is that the end of it? They said, "Let my people." Oh, they they thought they saw Jesus. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So let's say goodnight. And it looks like a lot of folks have been saying, yeah. Thank you for that, Ellie. Got Frostbite. Check out his channel.
Yep, I'm going live in the morning, and we have a really cool set of shows this weekend. Harlan J. Burke is taking over my channel.
Oh
Mike
my.
is going to be talking about 5 years of some of the neatest coins that he's seen. I've seen the pictures, folks. This is fabulous. You're definitely going to want to be there. And then Russ Bega. Russ Bega is the CEO of Harlan J. Burke, and him and Mike are taking over my channel on Sunday. I'm going to interview them, and they're just going to talk coins, talk turkey, and if you have questions, you can ask them. So, great shows planned for this weekend. I think you guys will really enjoy this.
Yeah, you guys start at 9 Central Time. Is it 9 Central Time?
It's 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern.
Okay.
Both Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
So make sure you guys come and check it out. That it will be fun.
Now Harlan is really into or the son, right? Is really into coins of the world and especially ancients.
Yeah, both Harlan, Aaron, and his sister, and I can for the life of me never remember his sister's name. But all three of them are brilliant when it comes to ancient coins. His dad literally wrote the book on the top 100 ancient coins. It's actually written by Harlan J. Burke. It's the largest coin shop in America, still in operation today. And some of the stuff that passes through there is, I mean, it's historic. I mean historic, like ones of a kinds, pattern coins, neat stuff. And yeah, so again, a lot of fun. It's cool that they have supported the channel like they do. And so again, I told them, you guys have an open door. You guys want to take over the stream and talk some stuff. It's all you. So they took me up on that offer. They said, hey, we want to take over a weekend and just talk shop, talk turkey, talk stuff. And I'm like, yours. So it's pretty cool to have Russ Bega on. For you ladies, he's easy on the eyes too. So there's a lot of ladies that like that dude. He's quite the athlete, extremely smart, very good with money. He's eye candy for the ladies. So come watch it if it's nothing else.
Yeah. 9:30.
Yep.
All righty then. Hey guys, thanks for being in here tonight, and I sure did enjoy Frostbite's stories, and everybody else had some good stuff to throw in with it. Thank you, and we will let my people be left. Good gosh. All righty. So let's say good night, and thank you, Frostbite, for hanging out with us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Always a pleasure.
All righty then. Good night, everybody. Nancy didn't even want to come out tonight. She was so sore. I had her going today, but then her treat was to go by Wendy's and pick up a Frosty for her. And it wasn't Frostbite.
It didn't come with fries.
Yeah, it didn't. I don't know why, but chocolate nonetheless. Yeah, go figure. All right, so let's say goodnight, folks, and thank you so much. I'll let them all say goodnight and jump on out. Always give them the opportunity to say goodnight to everybody. I guess that was it, I think. All righty then, end the stream. Good night, John boy.
Good night, Mary Ellen.
You remembered the name, didn't you? Good night, Ma. Good night, Pa. Good night, Rocka. Good night, Ma. Yep. All right, folks. Have a good one. Thank you.
Take care, all.
Thanks for hanging. We'll see you tomorrow night. Hope, pray for Nancy and say a prayer for me too. It's been a long couple of days. It finally got to me. Bingo. Good night. Yeah, there we go.